Why emotionally sensitive women often feel isolated during spiritual growth is not something many people explain gently. But today, I want to speak to you slowly, honestly, and with understanding. If you are an emotionally sensitive woman, you feel deeply. You notice shifts in tone. You sense emotions before words are spoken. You care intensely. You love with your whole heart. And because of that, spiritual growth can feel lonely in ways others do not understand. You may have noticed that as you grew closer to God, you did not become louder. You became quieter. You did not become dramatic. You became more reflective. You did not push people away. Yet somehow, distance appeared. This isolation did not come because you are weak. It came because you are aware. Emotionally sensitive women are often deeply spiritual by nature, because sensitivity is not fragility. It is perception. You feel what others ignore. You sense what others dismiss. You notice what others rush past. When God begins to work deeply in your life, He often works first in the heart. And for a sensitive woman, the heart is already wide open. So growth feels intense, change feels heavy, and silence feels loud. You may wonder why you now feel uncomfortable in places that once felt safe. Why certain conversations drain you. Why shallow interactions feel unbearable. Why you crave depth but rarely find it. This is not because something is wrong with you. It is because your spirit is changing. Emotionally sensitive women often feel isolated during spiritual growth because they are shedding versions of themselves that once survived by blending in. You are no longer shrinking your truth to fit the room. You are no longer ignoring your inner voice. You are no longer numbing your feelings to keep peace. And when you stop abandoning yourself, some people feel the absence, not because you left them, but because you are no longer available in the same way. This can feel confusing, especially if you are kind, gentle, and considerate. You may ask, why does choosing God make me feel alone? Why does healing feel like loss? Why does growth feel like grief? Here is the truth. Spiritual growth removes emotional noise. And once the noise is gone, you can no longer pretend not to hear what is real. Emotionally sensitive women often outgrow relationships quietly, without arguments, without drama, without announcements. You simply stop forcing connection, and that alone creates distance. You may still love people, but you no longer lose yourself to keep them. And that shift, even when done gently, can feel threatening to others. If you are watching this and you feel seen, I want to invite you to pause, take a breath, and subscribe to the Dear Woman of Faith channel. Because this space is for women like you, women who feel deeply and walk gently with God. During spiritual growth, emotionally sensitive women often feel isolated because they begin to feel God more than approval. You start to value peace over belonging, alignment over acceptance, truth over comfort. And while this is holy, it can feel incredibly lonely. You may find yourself pulling away from noise, from gossip, from comparison, from emotional chaos. Not because you think you are better, but because your nervous system can no longer handle what your soul has outgrown. Emotionally sensitive women feel isolation deeply because they do not replace connection easily. You do not jump from relationship to relationship. You do not attach quickly. You do not open carelessly. So when distance forms, you feel it fully. You grieve what once was, even when you know it can no longer be. This is where many sensitive women blame themselves, thinking they are too much, too emotional, too intense, too quiet, too different. But spiritual growth is not about becoming less. It is about becoming true, and truth often costs companionship. God often draws emotionally sensitive women inward before He brings them outward. He teaches you to sit with yourself, to hear Him without distraction, to trust your inner discernment. This inward season can feel like isolation, but it is actually preparation. You are learning not to abandon yourself when you feel misunderstood. You are learning that being alone is not the same as being unloved. You are learning that God's presence can be felt even in silence. If this message is helping you understand yourself, subscribe to Dear Woman of Faith so you do not walk this journey feeling unseen. Emotionally sensitive women often struggle during spiritual growth because they feel everything all at once. Joy feels overwhelming. Sadness feels heavy. Hope feels fragile. And faith feels tender. You are not numb. You are alive. But the world does not always know how to hold that. So God teaches you how to hold yourself. He teaches you boundaries, not walls, rest, not isolation, and discernment, not fear. And that learning curve can feel lonely. You may notice fewer messages, less invitations, less checking in. And even though you understand why, it still hurts. You may cry quietly, not because you regret growth, but because you miss ease. Ease is often the first thing to go when truth enters the room. Emotionally sensitive women feel isolation because they can no longer pretend everything is fine. You feel tension where others ignore it. You sense misalignment where others tolerate it. So you step back to protect your spirit. And protection can look like distance. This season is not forever, but it is necessary. God is teaching you how to be rooted, not reactive. He is teaching you how to listen, not explain. He is teaching you how to trust His presence more than people's consistency. If you have ever felt guilty for needing space, for choosing quiet, for walking alone with God, this message is for you. You are not failing relationships. You are honoring your soul. And there is a difference. Stay with me, because in the next part, we will talk about why emotionally sensitive women often feel misunderstood, why they attract projection during growth, and how God uses isolation to deepen identity. Remember to subscribe to Dear Woman of Faith so you do not miss the next videos, and so you always have a place where your sensitivity is honored, not questioned. You are not too much. You are becoming more aware. And awareness always changes the room. Period.